Man, it's been a long time since I've played Baldur's Gate, or Baldur's Gate 2. But the hype is real. Baldur's Gate 3. It was announced, I do believe, last year, but the newer trailer that was shown is a lot different from anything that I had heard about it from before. I'm really excited about the Mind Flayer aspect and just the idea of the Githyanki fighting Cthulhu-esque monsters. But that's just because I'm a Lovecraft fan. But Mind Flayers are so awesome. We've all seen the trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, I'll have a link to it in the description below. So, these are all screenshots from the live play of the game, because they were actually showing off a couple of hours of gameplay, and I wanted to give my own 2 cents. I'm not the biggest video game player. I do play some role-playing games online, such as ESO. I have played some DDO before, and I have some experience with the Baldur's Gate games. So I just wanted to give my own 2 cents. I know that there's 1,000 YouTube videos out there already give their own 2 cents, but since I am such a big 5th edition D&D fan, I would love to let you guys know why I am so hyped for this particular Baldur's Gate. So stay tuned. Okay, Larian Studios is actually making this game, but they, on their YouTube channel, don't have a video of their live play of the game. So, I am showing you screenshots that I picked up from various places on the internet. And full disclosure, I don't own any of these, but I am just basically using them out of the fair use. I am showing off Larian Studios' project. I'm avoiding full capture video just because I don't want to get copy striked. So there will be some video or some screen captures in the back because I want to talk about some things. Unfortunately, if you want to see like the full trailer, I want you to go to actually the company or any other website that will have it, or any other YouTube channel. So I won't have it. Links down below. Again, I hope you guys enjoy my little analysis of this. So 5th edition did a pretty cool thing with D&D compared to their older editions. They gave you a background, which actually has mechanical support. And it looks like in this game, Baldur's Gate 3, there will be actually backgrounds, and I can't tell for sure if they're going to give a whole lot of mechanical support or if they're just flavor, but Sven, the guy who was playing it, the studio developer, he was clicking through and showing a whole bunch of different ones. I do believe he said that there was more than what we saw. He just showed us what was going to be in early access. But that's cool because it means that Baldur's Gate isn't trying to be like a 3.5 or a 4.5 kind of game. Kind of like what Dungeons & Dragons Online was trying to do, or Neverwinter was trying to do. So far, so good to know that this is basically a game that is grounded and rooted in 5th edition, which most of you probably already know is my favorite edition. So yay, backgrounds! Let's hope that there's some mechanical support for it. But hey, if it's just flavor, it's nice to know that they can at least let us choose from backgrounds from what looks like the player's handbook right now. So Sven showed us a couple different of the races that were going to be in Baldur's Gate 3, all 5th edition. He showed us what was going to be available in early access. He said that there's going to be more added. What I really like is that, again, it is definitely looking like there are roots in 5e, and it's very, very much going to be based off of 5th, because if you look at the features, at least here with the Halfling, You get the sub-race of Lightfoot. He didn't click to the other sub-races, but I'm going to guess that they're Stout there. As well as the features, so they're going to get their +1 Charisma, as well as Lightfoot Halfling, I would assume, would also get the +1 to Dex. They got their Lucky, they're Brave. I don't know what some of those things are. Maybe I know what Mercurial Step is, and I'm just drawing a blank. And then Naturally Stealthy for Lightfoot, as, you know, hiding behind people who are bigger than you. So, I like the fact that all the races that he clicked through showed what you would see almost word for word in the player's handbook. So this is solidifying the idea that Larian Studios knows 5th edition. I'm not gonna knock any developers, but sometimes I wonder if some of the older D&D games that were developed by studios, if the developers were actually into D&D, or if they just read the book and spit it out like a computer. But here, it looks really awesome. I'm super happy. They showed human, half-elf, half-drow, elf, and I know that there was, tiefling. I don't know what else they showed, but again, they're not showing everything, only what's going to be available in early access. So we showed off some of the cool classes that we'll be able to play, things that you would see in the player's handbook. It wasn't all the classes, these are just early access classes, I'm assuming. But you can see that there are, as a wizard, you would get cantrips, spells, and then a special action. The special action seems to be coming from the idea that once you watch the whole trailer in the very beginning, the player getting the tadpole from the mind flare in their eye. So I think that special action that you see on the top is something that you get from that. But it was kind of hard to tell. As you can see, the spells and cantrips have different pictures than what we would see on D&D Beyond. But it's really cool how each class looks like it's different, like it would be in the game. I know that sometimes you can play a video game, and yes, each class is different, but they're kind of samey feeling. Actually, D&D itself did that in 4th edition. At least in my opinion, everything felt samey. I like the idea that you can kind of customize. I I don't know for sure, this isn't guaranteed or confirmed, but down at the bottom with the cantrips and the spells where it says that you can edit them, I'm under the assumption that you'll be able to kind of pick and choose what you're going to start with, just like in pen and paper D&D. He just clicked through this, and he didn't really go into it. But if that's the case, then hey, that's cool. More and more like D&D. Get to choose 3 different cantrips. And I'm guessing that if you're a high elf or something, maybe if you were a wizard, you get a 4th cantrip slot. I don't know if that would show up there, or if that would show up just in their racial abilities, but what do I know? It's a game that's not out yet, so this is me just speculating. And before we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, it looks like you can choose your 2 skills that you would be proficient in. I don't know for sure if they're going to make it limited to what your class has, because it's giving you 2, which is what your class would give you, and then your background would give you 2. I don't know if it's going to limit you to only what your class in 5th edition would give you. I don't know what class that this particular screenshot is sitting on, like he would pretend to make, to have all of that as what he can select, but it looks like it starts him out with a pretty decent standard array for 5th edition, and it looks like he gets the +1 added if he were the halfling, so the 15 would be a 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. So he might have had another +1, though I would think that if it's still on that Lightfoot halfling, that dexterity would be a 13, but 15, 14... Yeah, so the 15 would be the 16, 14 is just 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. So maybe the starred means that that's the only thing that they get an ability score improvement on. Maybe you don't get both ability score improvements. Again, I don't know for sure. Speculation. It's a game that's not out yet. He didn't really talk about it. But as of right now, it looks like standard array with a +1 to 1 thing, and that would be the base halfling and not the Lightfoot halfling. quick addendum. I'm recording this a little bit later. Silly Justin. Yes, all halflings get a +2 to Dex, but only the Lightfoot gets a +1 to Charisma. The Stout would get the +1 to Constitution. So forgive my mind fart there. But it looks like if this is the standard array, which it looks like the dexterity wasn't bumped up. It looks like it was just the charisma bumped up for being a Lightfoot. So again, I don't know, just speculation. But before you jump at me in the comments, my apologies. I'm not going to go back and try to fix it all through my other narrations I recorded. Just know that, yes, I acknowledge that I made a silly mistake in the 5th edition handbook. The halfling, all of them get a +2 to Dex, and the Lightfoot gets the +1 to Charisma, and the Stout gets +1 to Constitution. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. So after a cutscene, it drops you right into basically play, shows your character waking up, and it brings you to a nice, beautiful open world. Now, Sven was talking about how there's going to be a lot of verticality to the world. There's going to be a lot of different places that you can go via up and down. He showed us some of the verticality, which I'm going to show you some now, that you can leap up to and down from things. And I like that idea because it shows that there's some multiple different ways to go, and it makes the world kind of feel living. The birds in the background and the running around of little animals and reacting to you being around them is really cool. Dynamic shadows. It's just a really beautiful open world that they created here with lots of different ways to go, so you don't have to feel like you're being brought down a single path. And we all know as D&D players that we don't necessarily like to be railroaded in an open world long game. Now, if it's a one-shot, then yeah, it's okay to get railroaded. But in a game like this, if it's going to take 40+ hours to beat, I would like to have multiple different ways to tackle things. So any video game RPG worth its salt is going to have dialogue and roleplay kind of stuff to help make the story go along. Even some of the free-to-play ones have stuff like that. But what Sven made clear was, the ones that you're looking at right now are specifically for a vampire thrall, but what if you're playing someone else? Like, what if you're playing a half-drow wizard? The answers that you can interact with people are going to be different. And he kind of alluded to down the road that there was going to be ability to build up relationships with your followers. I know that there are some games right now, or at least there were, that did stuff like that. Dragon Age, Mass Effect did that. Even some Skyrim, for I guess a little bit, kind of did stuff like that. Elder Scrolls doesn't really do that. But the cool idea is that, well, in D&D pen and paper, there's nothing really that's saying what you can or can't say to an NPC. Obviously, in a video game, things have to be, itemized and small. You can't just say whatever the heck you want. But the different dialogue trees, depending on who you are, sounds really cool. Okay, so we have the exploration, we have the interaction slash roleplay, but I know a lot of players get into tabletop RPGs in general for the combat. And you're probably wondering, like, how can they implement 5th edition combat without, like, I guess, making it just like everything else? Per usual for a lot of RPGs, it does have a turn-based system, which I like. I like real-time stuff, don't get me wrong. The idea of playing, like I said, I don't play a whole lot of video games, but it's pretty cool to just keep clicking on stuff. But, if you like XCOM or Jagged Alliance, sometimes you do like roll or turn-based games. And D&D 5th edition being a turn-based game, all D&D really being a turn-based game, it is awesome that they seem to have made it seem fun to do, because I don't always find turn-based gaming fun. So when Sven was playing, there was some actions that he was doing The action economy seemed a little bit different from 5th edition. Assuming that you're within the first 1 or 2 levels in this game when you first start out, if it's like the standard combat in 5e, depending on, no, actually just about no matter what class you have, you're going to really only have one action, and you're going to have one bonus action and a move, and maybe a free interact action. But it made it seem like he had 2 actions. I don't know if those were 2 separate actions, or if they were 2 attack actions. They seemed like 2 different things that he was doing. Plus, he had a bonus action and the ability to disengage. But he had a fun little disengage that he gets from that tadpole that he was put into his brain. The Mind Flayer gave him, that allows him to disengage with a jump as a bonus action. He said that that was what he got from the Mind Flayer. It was that power that he had got. So you get a little bit of extra powers than you would normally as a 5th edition character from just a straight, if you wanted to make like an Adventurers League legal character, this wouldn't be one. But it was interesting because he showed a lot of different things that you don't normally see in a 5e, or just actually, honestly, reaching back to like 3rd edition when I used to play then, there wasn't a whole lot of actions other than just like, oh, okay, I attack, or I disengage, or I move, or I make a bonus action, or in other editions, a minor action. So what he was able to do was, he said that just about anything in the inventory you can throw. So he threw his pair of boots at a couple of intellect devourers, that's what they were, and he killed one of them with that. And he talked about how everything is calculated, so instead of you having to worry about math, it'll give you like a percentage to hit chance. And he talked about how having verticality and hiding can give different percentages to hit or to be hit, and the engine of the game does it all in the background, but it kind of calculates an advantage for you or disadvantage for you. There were some other actions in there that you don't normally see a lot of people do. I know that not a lot of my players use like the shove action. He showed one where he shunted a baddie off of a cliff, and that's what ended up in combat. But what was cool about it is that he was able to kind of split his party up, so he was able to attack from 2 different places, which honestly I think needs to happen more in regular D&D and not just like in a video game like this, because that kind of really, that reminded me of XCOM right there. Actually, more so Jagged Alliance, to be honest with you. But what was cool about that was that his other people were kind of in combat. It was starting at a turn-based, but he kind of got this free action but with his main character when he punted. I don't know if it was a halfling. I know that he was fighting like 2 halflings, or maybe they were gnomes. I couldn't tell. One of them, one of the baddies, he just shunted off the top of a ledge, and that's what immediately entered him into combat. But that was cool because it did damage, and he talked about how you as a player can jump from a high place and land on someone. In concurrence with 5th edition, it seems again like they really know what they're doing. There was an enemy that threw a witch bolt on the girl Shadowheart, I think is her name. It was the girl that was up on the screen before that you can have the dialogue tree with. And she was being witch bolted by a enemy wizard, I guess. They were a wizard. Some sort of spellcaster. And when, he was talking about how every turn, as for free, they'd be able to hit her with that. Which, well, actually, not for free. It'd be their action, which is what Witch Bolt does. But then his character attacked him, and that person broke concentration. It even says concentration broken, or broken concentration. And, concentration is definitely a 5th edition thing, because, remember in 3rd edition where you could run around being flying invisible and casting stuff all over the place without having to worry about it. Well, in 5th, now that there's concentration checks, I think it's cool how it tells you, hey, you broke their concentration. So this is definitely a 5th edition base. And that's really cool because, in other editions of Baldur's Gate, if I remember right, in Baldur's Gate 2, if you had a wizard, like, casting something at you, really the only way to get them to stop was to, like, wasn't really, like, dispel it, or just to, like, kill them. But in this game, you can break their concentration. There's also death saves, so your characters can go unconscious, and the game will roll death saves for them, and you can make 3, and if you make 3, you're stable. If you pass. If you fail 3, then you die. Or if you get attacked and brought down to your negative hit points below 0. It didn't look like when you were attacked you failed a death save. It looked like the death save stayed because it gives you a little counter every time you're attacked when you're down. The enemy AI is ruthless in this game. He died the very first fight, so he had to restart really quickly. And he actually ended up losing Shadowheart in the next fight because the enemies are just so ruthless, and they just kept on, swinging at her. And he talked about how he wanted it to be more ruthless and how the game was going to be rough. I don't care what anyone says. 5th edition combat is just stacked too much for the players. Even if you throw a super stupidly CR at them, as long as they're over 3rd level, they're probably going to survive somehow. Not that I try to kill my players. I really don't. But I like the idea that the game's going to be really, really tough in combat. I don't know if he had it set too hard, or if that was normal, or if just it's always going to be the same difficulty no matter what. This has already gone too long, so I just wanted to say the combat looks freaking awesome. The fact that you can do a whole bunch of different stuff that you wouldn't normally do allows you to think outside of the box, play tactically, play more like it's a, I don't know, a simulated war game, sort of like what it started out as, chainmail, So here's my final thoughts. Guys, this is a pre-alpha video game that is going to go into early access that seems like it is trying to stick to its roots with 5th edition and D&D in general, with a cool story about mind flayers, aka Lithids, and the Githyanki, maybe the Githzari, but I don't know about that. I just saw the Githyanki in there. And a fun little story that you're going to build and make interactions with your party members. I don't know exactly where it's going to go. Again, I know just as much as you do. I don't have any insider information. A lot of this stuff is just speculation. But I think it'll be fun. I'm probably going to get it day 1, as long as there's no like really weird bugs. Maybe I'll get it like day 2. If it's on early access in like Steam, then I'll get it quite quickly. But I really like the idea. I've never really been excited about a D&D game since, I guess, Baldurs Gate 2, because, Sword Coast Adventures didn't really do anything for me. So, this game looks pretty fun. It looks like there's going to be some customization. There's going to be the ability to have followers. You're going to be able to build the camp, make it a little bit better, bigger, so you can, there's going to be some customization with your comrades. That's going to be cool. And yeah, it might seem like a basic RPG, but we haven't had a basic RPG in a long time that's been fun in Dungeons and Dragons: The Forgotten Realms. So I'm excited for it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And as always, remember to game on.